apologising to the Benfica fans after the game. Damien, we're just going to pick up on the question that George Hamilton posed at the end of his commentary. He said, look, how satisfied will Man United be with that? 3 wins out of 3, 9 points, they're nearly into the last 16.
Well, history will tell you when you have 9, you are through. Yeah, for me, he'd be happy enough, job done, go home. You know, you don't nowadays have a lot of time to dwell on these games. I'd say they got a tongue lashing at half-time, and for now it's just recover and get ready for Huddersfield at the weekend. That's what they'll be thinking about now. Like, you see him giving fist pumps at the end. He looks happy enough to me. And you forget, I think he had 8-9 games as Benfica manager. He's an ex-Benfica manager, so it means an awful lot to him. I remember when I played under him against Porto. That's the most animated I've ever seen before a game, and I'd like to think he's always like that against ex-team. So I think it's still a massive win for him. I think you pick and choose the times you hammer top players, so I think he's gone in after the game possibly and just well done and let's move on. But listen, Ronnie said it wasn't the most riveting in the games. Listen, it wasn't that pretty, it was ugly. Just that Mourinho efficiency, but there was a lack of energy the whole night through. Whether it was the players, it definitely hasn't come from Mourinho, whether it was the players just disrespecting the tie where Benfica are at. The whole energy about the stadium wasn't even full. When I think of Benfica, I think massive club always full. Champions 4 times on the bounce, so whether there's something strange going on at that club at the minute. But yeah, for me it's job done and he'll just move on to Saturday.
And Didi, here's the thing, and maybe it says more about Benfica and where they are. 3rd defeat in a row. It's the first time that's ever happened to them in the Champions League. Like, Manchester United never really got out of 3rd gear. You know, maybe they didn't need to and they still won the game, so...
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even go as far as 3rd gear. I think they've been pretty much in reverse gear most of the game. They didn't pass the ball well, they didn't take care of the ball well enough. They hardly created a goal-scoring opportunity. The game was decided by a mistake by the young goalkeeper, unfortunately. But when you look at Benfica, and United didn't play well today, but for 90 minutes, I don't think De Gea was tested once. I think they had 1 shot which went wide. I don't think they had a shot on target. And I think that shows where this team is at the moment, because this was not vintage Man United. This was a workmanlike performance. They did what they had to do. Probably would have taken a 0-0 and a mistake decided the game for them. But for a team to play against that United side and not have 1 shot on target, I think shows where Benfica is at the moment. And they got beat 5-0 by Basel in the last round, which was a big surprise. They got beat at home by Moscow. So they had a terrible start to this campaign. I think they played for 3rd place. But I think tonight showed more about Benfica than it said about Man United, because we know that Man United is capable of doing these games and playing these games and winning ugly, which is never a bad sign. You know, it should also be noted. But I think it showed where Benfica is in terms of European football. They're nowhere near where we've seen them in, you know, 2-3 decades ago.
Richie, would you be critical of the way Manchester United played, or do you just say, job done, they won, next game?
I think if you approach every game just looking to see, well, did you get the results you wanted? Well, then it shuts down all conversation if you got the result you wanted, and United did. So in one way you say, let's all just shut up criticising them. They got what they wanted and they can go home with the 3 points, the 3 wins, the top of the group. Things are looking great. Before the game, we kind of divided the conversation into entertainment against the result. But tonight I'd add into the quality of the play. Like, if you were to assess the quality of play, George, or you asked earlier, would Mourinho be happy? Whatever about his public comments tonight, or whatever he says to the players before, whether exactly like Duffer said, he moves on to say, right, we prepare for Huddersfield on Saturday, he can't be happy. Like, you described him as someone who's his attention to detail. So, you know, timing runs and not getting caught offside, the link-up play between any of the wide men and the front man, the hold-up play from Lukaku, the variety in the attacking play. How many different ways can you carve open a defence? How many different ways can you test the goalkeeper? How often can you control possession of the football and really slickly move the ball around and keep it for 20, 30, 40 passes? In all of those departments, they looked very average tonight. And the goal that won them the game, I have a huge amount of sympathy for that goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back 2 hours ago, whenever he was told he was going to play, it must have been the highlight if not of his life, certainly of his sporting life. He's broken a record tonight, which will probably stand for a long time.
Held it, yeah.
But now he's going to be. It's a very memorable debut for an awful reason for him. It was a woefully poor bit of goalkeeping from him. Huge bit of luck for United, but yes, United won the game. Job done, very professional, efficient, pragmatic, conservative, all the things that we described Mourinho. Entertainment-wise, it was really poor. Quality-wise, it was awful.
Like, Didi, we have, you know, and you always have to take into account the quality of the opposition. We have seen Manchester United play an awful lot better against teams that are better than Benfica, or certainly the Benfica we saw tonight. So why have things dropped in 2 games? The standard, the ability to use the ball properly, find a teammate, make chances, test goalkeepers, all the things Richie said.
Well, I think it's a phase of the season now, halfway through the first half of the season, with the international break, which is a bit of a disruption, where people would have been away. There's no excuse, because there was a bit of a downpour before the game. It was a wet surface, perfect to pass the ball. But I'm not sure what Richie just said about the manager. I slightly disagree. I don't think he cares too much, because I think, and Damien may have more of an insight than us, I think the mental approach for a game or to a game, I think is for him always more important than what actually does happen in terms of technical ability, a missed pass, a missed control. I don't think he's bothered about that too much. I think he'd be delighted tonight that on a day where they didn't play well, and of course they can play better, they came away with a win. And coming back to what you say, they have played better against better opposition than tonight. I think a lot of the games which they did win at the start of the season, they scored some late goals. You know, once you go ahead, which today was pretty late, once you go ahead in the first half, game opens up after 55, 60 minutes with the likes of Martial, Rashford, Lukaku, you will always open up and you score goals on the counter-attack. And I think they scored quite a few goals late on in the game when the opposition had to force the issue because they were a goal or 2 down. So have they played any better this year? Yes, probably. But I don't think we've seen a United performance for 90 minutes. And for that matter, I don't think we'll see a United performance for the whole season for 90 minutes where you go away and say, this was mesmerising, as we've seen with City this year. This is just not the team, or it's just not set up to galvanise and pulverise teams than Manchester City does. And I think we've got to get away from the United way. We spoke about it before. This is a workmanlike team. This is a team that knows what they're doing, with huge quality going forward. But this will never be a team that plays teams off the park and is winning by 3 or 4 goals at half-time. Yeah.
But Damien, you know the way he builds his team. You know, this and again, you take the opposition into account, I know. But it's another clean sheet tonight. I think that's 9 in 12, something like that. And, you know, that was when he came to Chelsea first. The first priority was make us difficult to score against. And these guys, I don't know, they're certainly not the best defenders in England, but they're keeping clean sheets, and they have a great goalkeeper behind them.
Like I said, he's probably not one to read into too many stats, but you will be going home tonight. 3 points, clean sheet. Like I said, move on. Harping on about my time there, but I remember thinking back, like, we were the kings of ugly wins. Wouldn't play particularly well, but he built such a siege mentality in groups, and you'd be fitter than anyone the way you trained, that the 1-0s, and then at times when people come out and you're 1-0 up, they commit bodies forward, and that's when it turns into the 4s and 5s. But tonight, yeah, it was energy, tempo, and that's nothing down to do with him. Like Diddy mentioned, the international break, and they come back and play one of the toughest games you play this season, Liverpool away. So maybe that's all playing into account, I don't know. Like, they looked leggy. You try and tell me Matic or Rashford can't play a ball from A to B. It's nothing to do with Mourinho, it's just maybe energy levels, who knows. And you know they'll come again, you know they have so much more to offer. But listen, I think we all agree on that. The likes of City going forward, the interchange and what have you, you're not going to get that, but you'll get 3 points.
Okay. But and going back on them being leggy, with being leggy, and I think we all agree on that, they didn't need the goalkeeper today. So if you go away in Europe, and you know they may not be the force of old Benfica, but still they've got some decent players in their side, and to go there not to concede a shot on target and don't really need the goalkeeper, shows how far they come in defensive terms.
Talking of goalkeepers, gentlemen, this is the goal, and it's been put down as a Rashford goal, and it's such a terrible misfortune for Sadlier.
I actually thought he did all right in that one. He's come through bodies, he's punched it, and this is where you start to worry. He's backpedaling, he just gets his distances right, and you could smell it coming with him from minute one. You know, Mourinho spots that he's 18 and they're playing balls in on top of him, and here it's this forward step, you'll see it now, that for me throws him, and he ends up, that one's there, ends up backpedaling, and his own momentum just takes him into the goal. Like the lads were talking, can he tip it over the bar? I don't think he needs to. It's, you know, a foot and a half beneath the bar when he catches it. I think there's no need. I just think it's that step forward, he gets his distances totally wrong and ends up just backpedaling at such a speed that he takes it into the goal. But like I said, you could smell it coming from the second minute, the first corner. Listen, again, detail, that's what top managers do. Let's get it in on top of the 18-year-old keeper, unfortunately for him. That's
what they did, all right. And it goes down as a Rashford goal. It was after 64 minutes. We've a couple of other Manchester United chances. They had 62% of the possession over the 90 minutes. Got the goal, but here's some other opportunities.
This is what we call for at half-time. Just shoot on sight, test the goalkeeper. Rashford did it first. Matic did it here, must be more at 35 yards. And Martial, when he came on, I think he had some bright moments. This is one of the best of them. Just gets at the full-back, really quick feet. We know he can do this. And this is well saved here by Sadlier. And what I like about this, Luisao applauds him. Gives him some encouragement, which I didn't pick up in the footage when he conceded the goal. I was just crying out. The scene was crying out for someone just to go over to him, pat him on the back of the head, give him some bit of encouragement or consolation, and he didn't. But that was it. That was it from United against what we've all described as a poor Benfica team. I know you're making the point. They're not going to get to pulverise teams anything like Man City can do, but they can play a hell of a lot better than that. Surely there must be aspects of that performance which should concern Mourinho, because if they're going to go on and challenge or win things, they're going to have to play better. So the players he sent out tonight played at a very low standard, and I assume at a half-time or during the first or second half he would have been issuing instructions or rollickings to those players and got little or no response. There was little or no marked improvement. So those are the things which much concern him. I take all that point that the result matters and winning ugly is important, but surely playing poorly and looking average and being sluggish, being careless on the ball, being unimaginative going forward, that would concern you. It must do.
Okay.